Hey everybody, welcome back. I am your host, Joe JDF Foster, and today will be a two-episode set as I did skip last week by accident. First up is this episode in which I will be discussing Mortal Kombat from my perspective, not its history and things like that. Or I'm going to try and do those as little as possible, as they aren't what actually matter to me in that aspect. Okay, to me, first of all, I'd like to thank all my subscribers and viewers who have come out and seen these videos and watched them, shared them, however you've done it. Thank you. Now, to continue. I remember when I was young, Mortal Kombat was new. It came out as in, sorry, I think I was in about fourth grade, probably. It came out in, 92, 93, so, yeah. Anyways, I remember from the moment I started playing that game, it was one of my loves. I consider it one of three fighting games, or as I call them, the Trinity of fighting. The Trinity is made up of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and SNK's Fatal Fury, or as the other names it was given, Real Bout and King of Fighters. Eventually, is what it became known as. But my version was the King of Fighters with Terry and Andy and Joe as my characters. Anyways, with Mortal Kombat, what I loved about it is the story idea was simple. You had a character, they were chosen to fight in the tournament, and you tried to win. There wasn't some long, drawn out story to it. Also, in that game, at times it felt like it was impossible to win. Other times, it felt like it was extremely easy. I remember getting up to Goro, and then it would take me like 5, 6 tries on my. Sometimes on my best day, it was 5 or 6 tries. Other times, it'd be like the worst day ever, and I'd be there for an hour minimum just trying to beat him. And there were other times it was real easy, and the fight was over early. Now, I admit to the first one in the Mortal Kombat series, I did have a problem with the gender bias to it because I thought it needed more women. I thought it needed another woman in the game, Sonia. What I found interesting is if you look at Sonya and Johnny, it's two American characters in the way they're made. With um, Kano, he actually didn't start out to have. He actually wasn't meant to be Australian originally. He was actually meant to be normal English. And the guy who did his voiceover came in, gave him the accent that he eventually had, and it changed it to where he became Australian. At least for the movie. And so the games from there on kept him as an Australian. But in the first game alone, You were limited to a certain number of characters, including an immortal thunder god named Raiden, and I was not a fan of him because I'm sorry, but a guy who could go all the way across the screen in one attack, and if you blocked him, he just rolled back and could almost go into an instant attack again, was unfair. But the real unfair was when you got to Goro. I mean, I know sub bosses are supposed to be hard, but come on, Goro was a little more hard than you needed to make him. But bosses are supposed to be the hardest thing you face in the game. If that's true, Goro should have been at the top of that list in the first game. Because Shang Tsung was so easy to beat that, half the time I didn't even try. Given my favorite character was Scorpion, and me and my brother, we've actually done the Scorpion Sub-Zero rivalry for so long that the PS2 had controllers that came out. And we actually bought the controllers for Mortal Kombat Armageddon of the Sub-Zero Scorpion. And, well, at least I think it was PS2. It might be PS3. But I'm pretty sure it was PS2 for Armageddon. And we actually played those controllers for that game specifically because it's who we were the majority of the time when we would fight. I mean, yeah, we used the other characters, but everybody's got their favorites. Thing is, his was actually new, but Sub made a lot better of a fight anyways. Even more fun was when we got to the later part of it. Now, the second game, the second and third games, I like that they added more female characters, but I hated how the ninjas started getting left out or started showing a decrease in them in favor of the Cyborg Initiative. Such as, okay, we got Cyrax and Cyborg Smoke in the third game. They leave off Scorpion. I actually found multiple websites where the first question asked when people talked about Mortal Kombat 3, the first question asked was, how do you make a game and leave out Scorpion? How do you make Mortal Kombat games and leave out Scorpion? Which I actually have to agree with him because he was one of the great characters in the game, especially for the early trilogy. So when they actually killed him off, which is how I'm guessing why he wasn't in the original version of 3, I wasn't too happy with it. But then they made the Ultimate 3, where basically it took the original and it added in the ninja characters. And to me, that made the game a lot better. Well, then they went to 3D. Initially, I was with a lot of people, thought this was going to be a wonderful idea. Then I played the Mortal Kombat 4 and realized, yeah, it looked good as an idea. The execution was bad. Because with execution, I mean, come on. A lot of them had very simple fatalities where it was like, oh. I mean, 2 of them had the exact same fatality where they kick you and your chest is left spinning. And there was a very big size disadvantage in that for those two to be doing that. And then we find out Goro's been alive this whole time. Kind of hurts the story impact to that. Because the whole point of Kentaro, Shiva, and Mataro in 2 and 3, in 2, 3, and Trilogy, in 2 and 3, anyways, is that Goro didn't make it. Goro died. Then, sorry, then Kentaro, another of the Shokan, which kind of confuses me, because the idea of the Shokan is that they're half dragon and half human, or outworld, or I forget what it's called. But Kentaro was different. He was half tiger, half dragon. So he was automatically a different onset altogether. After his failure, however, Shao Kahn lost his faith. The only reason Shiva was still around was because she was Sindel's personal guard. And after Sindel's death, Shao Kahn decided to keep her on. But because of Kentaro and Goro's failures, they lost their status and protection under him that they previously had. And now, Mataro, the Centaur leader, was getting to take over as general and led the invasion on Earth. And that's another one that if you play against, sub-boss wise, you will realize how broken the character is. This is a guy that when you face him, has the ability to disappear, shoot multiple laser balls, and you can't hit him below the human half. And almost any projectile you use automatically fails. About the only one that works. Okay, the only real projectile I saw that worked against him that hit below the human half of Mataro was the Sub-Zero. It was Mass Sub-Zero and Unmasked Sub-Zero, where they would freeze the ground. Otherwise, you had to use Sub-Zero's air shot. Anything else, you pretty much had to be an attack that was above the bottom. I mean, that was waist or higher. Otherwise, you were just wasting your time. He'd take one swing, you'd lose about half your life. And then he'd stomp on you for about 2 or 3 seconds, and that'd be the match. Anyways, back to the 3D world. Those games I got really out of because while the story sounded good, the actual gameplay was not that good in my view. It was, we're going to do this. We're going to improve the graphics, but yeah, we'll even give you multi-fighting styles, but don't expect anything special about the character. And a number of the characters lost their moves that made them famous, like with Rain, who, if you go on YouTube and watch a video based on his history, you'll see during one of the games, he actually lost, during the 3D series, he lost his roundhouse kick, which knocked the person across the screen and around the other way. Come in from the other side of it, the other side of the screen. He lost the shadow ball, the weather ball, which was the equivalent to Reptile's Force Ball, essentially. And these were actually bad. And like I said, when Armageddon hit, I got the game because I thought it was going to be the last in the series, and I was good with that. And plus, I wanted to see if anything had changed and it had gotten better, and it hadn't. But it had extra things to it. It had the little mini games, and me and my brother had fun, so it was nice. Well, then things got really fun because then they decided to reboot the series. Mortal Kombat 9. I didn't get into 9 as much, but I did like the way it played because the story was more done. I mean, because it got you more into the story. You didn't actually just, oh, you play this character and you get this ending. No, you played as a character throughout. You played as different characters and learned different things and got to certain points. It was kind of like playing a role-playing game in a way, in that sense. And at the end of it, you got to see what the reward was. And in X and XL, I had the XL version. Again, it's got more story. The fights are better. A lot of the characters return to their roots in their fighting and not the 3D. And the 3D world is gone, which helps out a lot. Because though you can pick up weapons from the side, the roots of it being a platform style, not platform style, a 2D world. Sorry, that's the correct term. A 2D world makes it where it's easy to work with. And a lot of the moves can be returned and it works out better. And then there's the current Mortal Kombat 11. Now, I don't know about them personally, if they're going to make a 12 or not, but with 9, 10, and 11, I think you could end it on 11, call that the franchise, and everybody be happy. Yes, a lot of fans would probably not be, and they would ask for more, and have this and that, and want to have this and that done, but the next thing you would do that I could see that would be logical is do like you did before, and after MK3, and after the original, after you did the Ultimate MK3, do an Ultimate MK trilogy. Well, this time, do either do instead of an MK12, make an Ultimate Mortal Kombat, and make it where you have the characters, all the characters from 9, 10, and 11. The playable and the non-playable, that way you can get them all together. And you can include Reptile as well. I can't remember if he was actually in 9 or not, but I know he's in 11 as a character that when you travel the crypt and use Kenshi's blindfold, he shows up to kill you, and you have about I want to say about a fifth of a second to hit him, if you're lucky, or he kills you. But anyways, that's the next logical thing I see being done with it. Otherwise, leave the series alone. It's good as it is, and you've got 9, 10, and 11 that did a reboot of the series and still kept it to 1, 2, and 3's idea. Though I was not... Okay, there is one complaint I do have for the entire franchise. Sindel. How they changed her history. That's the only thing that bugged me. In the original storyline, Sindel was a kind queen. She took the marriage to Shao Kahn in order to protect Katana. Well, upon learning that Shao Kahn was going to invade Earth, she decided to protect it from him. The way she did it, she committed suicide, and her soul was used as the way to protect it. That's why when Mortal Kombat 3 existed, when they came out with it, she had to be brought back from the dead, and Shang Tsung actually used corrupted souls to create the Dark Sindel that people knew. Well, if you watched Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11, especially Mortal Kombat 11, where she's a DLC, where she's a DLC character, when they do her story, her part of the story, it turns out that in this version of the universe, or the timeline, however you want to look at it, she committed suicide on purpose, but it wasn't to protect Shao Kahn from getting to Earth. It's because she knew Shang Tsung was going to resurrect her. She just didn't think it was going to take so long. Also, she knew. Also, she helped kill her husband, who's, as it turns out, is the actual soul and core for the souls that make up Ermac, King Jarrett, the king of Edenia, or wherever Katana's from. But but Shiva had no idea about this. And Shiva couldn't do anything because she was loyal, because she signed a blood vow. And she gave her blood oath. So, unfortunately, she had to turn heel during the series in order to do this. But it comes back to bite them, as this king and queen did not expect what happened in it. The queen did not expect that her daughter would be able to stand on her own 2 feet, which made things better. And personally, if you want my viewpoint, Mortal Kombat 1, 2, Ultimate 3, Ultimate Trilogy, if not those 4, then up to the Ultimate 3. And then the reboot series of 9, XL, and Ultimate 11, or Mortal Kombat 11, with all the DLC material bought, is the best ideas for the games wise to play. I'd leave the 3D worlds behind. This was not the area for them. So, later.